Hey, what's up everyone? So this is part 2 of my video on how to practice design. In this, I'm going to recreate a few screens that we picked out in the previous video and recreate them pixel for pixel. I recommend you check out the first video to get an idea of what this technique is, and then you watch this one. So let's get started.
Okay, so I have rent the runway here. Just gonna space them out a little bit. And if you remember from our last video, the first thing that you do when you open a new file is create a new artboard. And I use the word artboard and frame interchangeably. Because artboard is what you would call it if you were using Sketch and XD, and frame is what they call it in Figma. And I'm really used to Sketch because till 6 months ago, that's what I was using. And before that, I started with Photoshop and then Sketch. And okay, so let me create a frame, iPhone X. If you notice, this is really small compared to the screenshots. It's because while designing, you normally design at 1x size. And then these screenshots here are way bigger. So they're maybe like 3x or something. Yeah, 3x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these. Click this constrain proportions here and say by 3. And just gonna change the spacing. So the first screen that we're gonna do is actually this one here, the one on top, the splash screen. Now you might be thinking this is not really UI, so why are we doing this? The reason for that is I actually want to get you familiar with the tools for doing simple graphic design as well, and not just UI. So what I'm gonna do is select this background here. So step 1 done. I feel like we're almost halfway there. Step 2 is we draw a rectangle. Now I can of course overlay this on top and just trace it, but for now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this thing where, so you have these rulers on top that show up here. You can just drag down and you can use this to sort of align, and this way I can just draw a rectangle of the same height. What about the width? If I had to now do this, so I'll place these rulers here as well. That's almost accurate. Let me just create a frame with this one, with this in it as well. Alright. So now I want to measure how far it is from the screen. So with this here on top, you can see that it's about 100 pixels in, 99 pixels. So I'm going to make this 99. And assuming it's going to be 99 on the other side as well, I'm just going to resize this. Just a little bit more. Okay, one more pixel. There you go. Now we have this rectangle here. I'm gonna remove this fill we have. I'm gonna give it a stroke. Now let's see, let's try to eyeball this. So we have a black stroke here. Let's slowly bump this up. That's probably too much. About 4 seems okay, but what about 5? I think that's closer. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna bring this down here to draw the next line. I'm gonna draw a rectangle. Height, I want it to be 5. Yeah. And I'm just gonna draw another guide here for this bottom. Change this color to black. I am going to duplicate this, Command D. Bring it all the way here. Make it full width. This line here is exactly center aligned, so I'm going to do that right now. Make this 5 and just use this center align tool. Now how far does this line go? So what I'm actually just going to do is draw a rectangle over it to measure. It's 112, approximately 110. Okay, so And I'm just going to duplicate this and rotate it for our last line. Put that there. Take this. Let's see. That seems about right. Okay, I think that's pretty close. You see the edge here, and the edge here is sort of weird, but I'm gonna accept that. It's okay. Now it's time for typography. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try a few fonts. I'm actually not sure what they use for their branding, of course, but I'm just gonna overlay a few fonts on top and see if I can come close. Cool. So that's pretty good. This thing at the bottom that you see, that's something that iPhone X adds to give you a visual indicator that you can swipe up to go back to your home screen. I'm gonna just skip that for now. The next screen. Now this is a slightly more intricate screen. What I'm gonna do is duplicate this artboard and just clear everything out. The background of this, I want it to be white. Now I want a status bar on top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use our iOS 11 GUI kit and pick that up. In the meantime, now for this screen, what I'm actually going to do is just lay it on top here, so it becomes easier for me. I'm just going to start drawing out some of the rectangles we have here, just to lay down a basic wireframe. I think this should be 8. Yep. And this is the color. Alright, so behind this button, then there's a white rectangle. And it has a shadow on top of it. I'm just going to recreate that in a bit. There is this brown rectangle here, which goes behind. My GUI here has loaded. I'm gonna get a black status bar, that's what I need. Copy this, paste it here. Now for our fonts, I want to Google what they are, but I'm gonna do that in some time. What size do you think this is? This is not 15, is it 12? Yeah, that's pretty good. So regular, maybe I make it medium. It's kind of better. I'm gonna align this to the right edge. Okay, that's fine. Rental dates. This is probably 12 as well, but see, let's try bigger size. Now, one of the reasons why I think copying helps is you're not making these decisions right now of what size should I keep it, what line spacing should I keep this. For example, this here, right? I could do this as well. Oh, it's letter spacing, sorry, or line spacing when I'm doing paragraphs. You're not making any decisions, but you're still designing, and you're sort of absorbing decisions other designers way more experienced than you have made. So that way you start developing an idea for what is good design while doing this. I'm just going to remove our guidelines here. Don't really need them anymore. For this, what I'm going to do is, so this is what we have right now. This is how it looks. Now I'm going to recreate our calendar right here as well. No fill, it has a stroke. It's, if I had to guess, it's like 10% black. That's what they've used. Let's see if I was right. Yeah, I can't really. That's about right. I'll take that. Now I'm going to use the line tool. So I'm using the shortcuts here: rectangle for R for rectangle, L for line, O for ellipse. That's what it is. I'm going to use the line tool here. Draw a line, edge to edge, and this is going to be 10% too. This is 10%. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a small trick that you can use for duplication. So I'm going to select this, hold down my Alt key and bring it here. Bring it to the exact spot. Alright, now I'm going to hide this to show what's happening. But now if I press Command D, Figma places this at the exact line. So now, just with those few keys, I've laid out all of my lines for this grid. Now I'm going to repeat this for the vertical lines. Let's see how that goes. So I created this, I applied the style. Now, the first one I do, I drag it out to its spot. And now all I need to do is Command D. Now there is something weird happening where I think they're getting slightly offset. So after I've done this, I'm just gonna make sure I align it. Okay. Now this style is probably the same as this style for rental dates up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do right click on this and say copy properties and paste this and say paste properties. The shortcut for this is Command Option C. Use that. Seems to be a little bigger. I'm going to make this 14 as well in that case. While you're doing this, you can start, now that you've laid this out, you can start seeing what the margins and things are. 19 here, 30 here, 34 between these two, 34 between this. Over time, you might get an idea of what kind of grid system they're using. For now, maybe not. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now I'm going to select these. I'm going to use this thing here to make sure the horizontal spacing is distributed correctly. This arrow here, I'm just going to redraw it. So it's about a pixel in width. So width is 1. I'm going to say maybe it has a edge like that. And make sure my width was, make sure my length was right. So it needs to be a little taller. So I do this, duplicate this, make this plus 45, bring that up here, align their noses. Now you see this is not exactly aligning, and even if I push it up and down, it's sort of just missing the point. For this, I'm going to manually go into Y value here and remove that decimal. And now you see this is perfect, close to perfect. Union this and give it the same. Not sure what that color is actually. It's going to be hard to pick out of here. Yeah. Now I'm just going to group some of my layers so it doesn't end up like as a total mess. Take these on top, group them. Calendar, let me group it once I fill in the numbers. These things at the bottom, group that using Command G for grouping. And let me actually group some of these lines. That's one group. That's another group. I'm just going to rearrange this in the right order. Cool. Now what do we have left? We have the numbers. So I'm just gonna first draw out these backgrounds. I want to be fast here so we can go to the next one. Most of this I want you to spend some solo time doing it. I'm gonna put it behind my lines group. Oops. So this is lines. Put it under the lines. I'm gonna do the same for this gold here. Time for numbers. 1. What I'm actually going to do is, to make this a little easier for me, I'm going to change this. What I did was I changed the boundaries of this box to be like that. I'm going to center align this, align middle. So now when I bring this here, I can just place it correctly. And what this does is, when I do a double-digit number, it won't mess up the alignment. It makes it much easier. So what I'm going to do is 2, 3. I'm going to just duplicate these out first. And make sure the spacing between them is just right. Open this to be there. Yep. I'm going to group this and duplicate it down here. Do that once, twice, and you get the idea. So I want you to change these numbers by yourself. Just do that when you're doing it. I'm going to leave that like that for now. Rent on your own terms. So this, I'm assuming, is this style here. I'm going to copy this, paste it. I'm going to left align this. Rent on your own terms. So if you guys haven't guessed already, Rent Your Runway is a site to rent fashion, to rent really good dresses and shit. It's actually really popular in the US. I think they went to Y Combinator, they raised a bunch of money. Very widely used. I'm not sure if it's just for women or they launched a men's section already. I'm gonna just type that sentence out and then bring it like this. Now to make this right, it's a center align. I'm gonna align it to the center here. And see this is something that I can manipulate using line height. I'm just going to do that. Align this to top and then do this. Now the very specific things that I'm doing here regarding text, I'm going to cover each of these in my video about text styles in UI. But for now, I would encourage you just try experimenting what the options are. It's not like there's a lot of options. There's like about 6 or 7 options, and I'm sure you'd be able to figure that out. Alright, so these circles here are this color. I'm gonna call that melange gray. Then this is dark gray. So Figma starts collecting the colors here that you've used frequently. So you can actually just pick that up from here. But I'm just going to use the color picker. So this white, this is much smaller. This is maybe 12. center align this. And one last thing that we have left is our shadow. I'm gonna eyeball this. I mean, I remember what it looked like. This is sort of what it looked like. It was pretty subtle. So we just move these into there to the right groups. This shadow here, effects, drop shadow. This is in the Y direction. I want it to be -4, something like that. I don't want it to be as harsh. I'm going to make it a little lower opacity, -10. I mean 10%. This is looking closer. And I think that's about it. That's our correct size. The rectangle is slightly smaller here though. You can fix that. Boom! There you go. Let's let's move on. This screen here. So now that we've made these, you see this is pretty decent UI. And imagine you just got started in design. Within a few minutes, you've recreated a screen of one of the most popular fashion apps in the US right now. By doing this, you've actually gotten into the mind of the designer who actually made this. And this is free, it costs you nothing. Just try out multiple apps and use them. This is the best way to learn. Let's try another app right now. I'm gonna do 3.0 TikTok. This should be interesting because there's actually a lot happening in this one screen here. Okay, new frame, iPhone X. I'm gonna make this 1X. Cool. So, what we need to start with, we need a white status bar on top. I'm gonna lift that from this UI kit here. Okay. Oops. Okay, done. It's here. You can't see it right now, but it's there. I'm going to draw this rectangle. It's probably just black. Yep. And I need a photograph here that I want to place. So what I'm going to do is open photo booth. Now, to draw an image, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first draw a rectangle that takes up the full place. And then I didn't cover this in the previous video, but what I'm going to do is apply a fill to it. And I'm going to apply an image fill. I'm going to pick this from my screenshots. It's a really bad photo. Wouldn't get any likes on TikTok with that. And move the status bar on top. Alright, so this text here, I'm like 90% sure it's Proxima Nova. But let's just try that out. White 16. And was I right? Yup, that was correct. So this, as you can see, is at a slightly lower opacity. I think it's at 50%, maybe 75. Let's see. And for you is at a higher opacity and it's bold. a chance that it might just be bigger also. Yeah. Cool. And then you see that there's line in between. I'm gonna draw that. It's probably same opacity as the text, so 75. And I'll just align these. Oops again. Okay, just like eyeball this. Now I'll make a group with these and move them to our file. You know, I really want to take a better picture for my fucking TikTok. So while I'm doing this, I'm just going to take a selfie and transfer it. Let's see, what else do we have here? We're going to need to make some icons for the bottom here. I'm actually using TikTok to create my thing. Okay, you'll see it soon. Alright. So now what I want to do, I want to draw this profile picture. So this is an oval. I use O for this. I'm gonna add a image fill to this. Pick something of mine if I can find it right now. Cool. I'm gonna use my boy Abhiraj here. Abhiraj was my co-founder at Listen. He's working as a designer right now at Go Euro in Berlin. Hey Abhiraj, if you're watching this and you see your face, hope everything is chill. My battery is actually low right now and there's no electricity here, so I might have to stop recording for a bit. Of course, you're not going to notice it because I'm just going to head back into recording as soon as it's back. I'll draw this either 4 or 8. Duplicate this 90 degrees union. Make that shit white. Bring it on top of this. So you guys, I'm hoping you guys know something about TikTok. So TikTok is this Chinese-based company. It's run by this conglomerate called ByteDance. They also run Vico Video, a bunch of others, man. I don't really remember. But they recently bought, not recently, but like maybe a year ago, they bought ByteDance. No, wait, ByteDance bought Musical.ly for like $1 billion. And since then, they've combined Musical.ly and TikTok into one single app. For this heart here, I am going to go to the nounproject.com. This is a site that I use to find icons. It is free, but for commercial use, you need to buy a license, which is like $1 per icon or something like that. For heart. Let's see what's closest to this heart here. Cool, let's just go with this. So I'm gonna place this here, and now I need to start styling it. So let's fix the size up. It seems to be a bit of a gradient, and it has some shadow around it as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a linear gradient fill from this color to this color, and I am also going to give it a shadow. I'm going to reduce the Y value, maybe make this 15%. Cool, I'm going to place that here for now. This text here, if you notice, it has a bit of a black shadow behind it. The reason they've done this is just so that white doesn't get hidden when there's white in the camera. Like when you're seeing, so that it's visible on every background. That's the intention there. What was I using? Montserrat, Proxima. Make it bold. White. 18, 14, 12. Yep. And now for that effect, what I'm going to do is give it a shadow. But I'm going to remove all blur effect. And that's it. That's the thing we're looking for. Cool. I'm going to do the same for likes. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. And for share, and these icons here, I'm going to get a comment icon. I don't really want to redraw this, man. Okay, let's give it a shot. Because I'm actually not that good at redrawing icons. I sort of suck at them. Use the pen tool. Here. Union. Just play around with that there. And the pen tool is something you will need a lot of practice with to work with. To be completely honest, I haven't used the pen tool in a while now, and I totally suck at using this. This is a little messed up right here, that edge, but I'm gonna pretend like it's all good. It's all Gucci. I'm gonna take these circles here. I'm gonna union the circles and then subtract them from the main thing, and there we go. Now copy the style here and paste. Alright. Share, I don't want to draw this. I'm gonna hopefully find something that goes well with it. Something like that. Something like this. I could probably just remove the black line around here. This is an odd vector. I normally don't have to delete anchor points manually like this, but for some reason the SVG file is not very neatly arranged. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna make this big. It's not exactly what we're looking for. Now we could get into the SVG and manipulate it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to copy this style, paste it on here. Okay, now let's group these layers and bring them into our original artboard. And while I'm doing that is see if this is chill. That's fine, except for this UI element at the bottom, which is sort of bad. Maybe I can do that in a moment. Okay, cool. Okay, we have our elements here. And there we go. Nice. So it's looking cool. It's almost correct, yeah. Eyeball this. Okay, let's get into our text. And if you notice at the bottom here, I mean, that's not what I meant to do with my image. Just fix that. You see the status bar and the text on top got hidden. It's because I pasted that image. Okay. You see at the bottom here, there seems to be a slight gradient. What I'm gonna do for that is just draw a rectangle and I'll style it. You will also give this image an additional gradient, but I'm not doing that because it's overflowing. They're both totally valid ways to do it. I want this to be 0%, and I want the second thing to be that much. Okay, let's work with the text. Approximate. I'm gonna guess that 18, that's 16. 18 is what it is. This is regular at 16, or it actually could be 14. No, it's probably 15. Yeah. Oh my god, it actually works. Exasperated face. What is it called? To bring up the Mac emoji, you can do Control Command Space. I always wanted them heart emoji. Cool, cool. Emojis are a tiny bit smaller. That's chill. And then there's some text at the bottom here as well, which is the name of the song that's playing right now. I'm just gonna make it Despacito. And this icon here, I'm just gonna very shittily in a very shitty way just draw it. Now, of course, when you're working on a real app, you can't have icons as shitty as these, which is why most designers actually look for icon sets, icon kits online that they can use. So now I'm going to just group these and copy paste them. What spacing do you think this is? Let's see. So it's 13. Hold on the Alt key. Make it 13 on top and the bottom. Now right here you have this, this is the song that's playing right now. It's a record and it sort of spins around. If you actually want to see what this looks like, it's actually pretty lit. The interactions that apply to TikTok. Just go to my website, uisources.com. While that opens up, let me just continue doing this. Then I want another circle in the center here, which is the name of the song. I'll give it the image fill. And what song are we going to play? What song am I vibing to here? To style this, it has this sort of effect going around. I can't actually see it very clearly, but what I might try is a radial gradient which goes from here to here. It actually didn't do much. It's probably not a radial gradient. Probably multiple angular gradients, but for now I'm not gonna apply this. I think this is enough. I would suggest that you try to do it though, because and if you can't, you can always ditch it later, but at least try. Alright, we're back to icons. I'm gonna recreate a few of these. And then the others, I'm just gonna leave them up to you. So what seems to be happening here is there's a white icon and there's a sort of blue and red overlay. What I'm gonna do for that is, so I'm gonna make this one blue. Then I'm gonna duplicate this and just make it a little smaller. Then I'll make this one white. And then duplicate this, make it halfway there, and make that red. For the plus, it seems to be no rounded edges. So just duplicate that. Cool. Group my layers. I'm going to check out what the spacing is. 45 from the bottom. I'm going to paste it in my artboard. Cool. Now I'm just going to make my icons here. There's a home icon. Make them 24. There is something else. There is something else. And then there is something else. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to evenly distribute these. I would suggest you try either drawing these icons if you want to practice with the pen tool, or try finding something similar to them. There you go, we've recreated Musical.ly. What's next? Should we do this? Okay, let's do that. This should be a very easy screen, and you'll see why exactly I made that. Be a very easy screen to do. So I've got a black status bar from here. I've got one line that goes across. Oops. This line. I'll make this 10%. I think that's what it is. Might actually be lesser. 5. Okay. Fans. Proximanova. I don't know why it's applying though. This is probably 18. Let's enter this. Let's just check this. Yep, that's about right. I'm gonna add a back icon here. For this, I'm gonna just pick up what we did for Enter the Runway and just modify that. Alternatively, what you could do is pick this back icon. It's called a chevron. Pick this up from here, from the iOS kit. Just take that. It's probably a better icon. And it's slightly smaller and thinner than that one. I'm just going to make it smaller. Spacing, I think it's about 16. Let's check. So this is 16. This is about 18. Now I want to do this. So what I'm going to do is I just have to make one of these items. Be more risk. Semi-bold, it's probably 16. %, I think that's what this is. Slightly smaller. Are they using 13? Normally I try to avoid like in between spaces. Normally try to keep it a multiple of 2. I don't know why I do that. What size is that? 14, 13. Knowing these guys, yeah, probably 13. Right. It's like 2 or something. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna group this, group these, and group these. I'm gonna apply a image fill to this. It's going to be, let's see, the first person that I see in this is going to get it. Abhiraj, I've already used Ankur for this. So Ankur, he's one of the contributors at UI Sources. Every once in a while he'll contribute a couple apps. What's up, Ankur, if you're watching this? Cool. So I'm going to place this here, 16, space one out at 16 as well, and let's do the Command D thing. I'm just gonna check if 16 actually was the spacing. No, it was 19. Cool. So the way I can easily do that is select these items and just use these handles. Select the items and use these handles that Figma gives you to space it out. Yeah, that's about right. 16 from the top. There you go. And now you can always get into this and change in the names. just to make it a little more real. That's me, and that is the TikTok chick. Cool. Now, one last thing I want to do is I want to also recreate a website. This screen here, maybe I'll do it in a future video, or you can try doing this. So if I had to break down the elements for you, draw rectangles on the screen, give them a stroke, give them rounded radius. This main one over here, which is in focus, has a white stroke around it. All the others are at a lower opacity, they're at maybe 50%. Apply different images to each of these, and you have your main grid. Top thing here, draw a rectangle. I think the effect they've given this is a background blur. So do that. Draw these icons out. You're done with that. This thing at the bottom, give it a black radius, the same thing that we did on TikTok, and just put the icons on it. And that's how you make this screen. Now I'm going to do one more, which is I'm going to recreate Slack's webpage. And the reason I'm also doing this is because I don't want you to think that this course is all about apps, like that's the only thing that I'm doing. With the skills you pick up, you can do apps, websites, whatever you want. So for this, my frame is going to be a desktop, and I'm just gonna maybe do the first fold here. Okay, to start off with, I'm also gonna place a copy here so I can trace. With websites, you can actually very easily find out, so this is what I was talking about earlier, the effects that TikTok uses. This is the rotating music at the bottom. Let me see if I have a better one of that. Rotating music indicator, yeah. Yeah, so that's what it looks like. So what I was saying was, with websites, it's usually much easier to get things like fonts. You can just use a extension like what font, and you can say, what font is this? This is Averta. That's cool, nice. I actually like Averta a lot. This is something called Tiempos, and this is all Averta. Cool. So I'm gonna do that. So Averta is a paid font, but I think I bought it some time back. Yeah, I do have it. I am going to recreate this logo. So the logo is probably not Averta. It's probably something else. Yeah, it is something else. But maybe I'll just copy paste this. Screenshot of this and put it there. As much as possible, try to avoid taking screenshots of things and just try to recreate them. I'm just doing this because I don't want this video to be like a 4-hour video. I want this video to be short so that you can watch this and you can immediately go try this yourself. Because watching me do this, you're probably not the most productive way to study. Like, this should tell you what you need to do, but to actually learn it, you need to go and do it yourself. So why Slack? So why Slack? Solutions, sources, and pricing. And I think these are all at 50% opacity. Now there is a sign in. And there's a button to get started. It's probably 2, could be 4 actually. If you actually want to see what exactly this is, you could even just jump into the CSS values here. So right click, inspect, button element, see the style. The border is, border radius is 4 pixels. You could do this, or another tool that I've tried using is Visual Inspector by Canvas Flip. So I can just click this and it just gives this to me in a more readable format. So get started. This is slightly smaller and it's in caps. Semi-bold. Maybe 14. This is in white. So now you can see we have just recreated the top bar of Slack, and I don't think we've done this really well because we missed out that little border there. Yeah, it's just a little nudging to do. Cool. Where work happens, I don't really have this typeface. So what I'm actually going to do is use something else. I'm going to go into Google Fonts. And this is a serif typeface. You're going to learn about that later, but serif is basically the one which has the embellishments. I don't know what they're called on it. Basically these. So I'm going to find a nice serif which has a good amount of thickness. Let me see. What was Slack using again? I think Tempos. Is Tempos a Google font? No, it's not. Okay, so I am going to use, let's see. I don't really like any of these. I think Tempos is a really good looking font. Really good looking typeface. Cool, let me just use Laura or something. Laura Bold. And I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna change the line height. Just gonna line top and tighten this line height up a bit. Next. This paragraph, I'm just going to copy it from Slack. So it's probably 75%. I'm not gonna verify it, but I'll go with that. Size probably 20. Yeah, 20. And the line height, I'm gonna bump this up to that much. Yes, so satisfying. I'm gonna copy this button to get started. I'm gonna make it bigger. assign this get started here. I'm going to duplicate this for email address. Just change its style. Give it a stroke. Probably 20%. And this needs to have this style. This text here. This is probably 20. No, it's more than 20%. So 50%. Let's call it that. This is around 16. Is it 15? Yeah. And this is gonna be already using Slack. Sign in. This is 14. And sign in is in blue. I'm gonna apply this blue to it. And just draw. Instead of using the underline option, I'm just gonna draw a rectangle. You could do either. Now for our illustration. How do you think illustrations are made, right? If you look at this, there's a lot of detail here. There's this detail on this lady's jacket. There's this noise effect here. There's this paintbrush effect. There's a duotone colors thing happening here. And these are all made in either Illustrator, or you could technically make these in Figma as well. And the way you would do that is literally just playing with the pen tool. So you would do this and say, so like that. Then another rectangle which is white, like this. And then grouping these, adding this thing floating on top here. And let's just get into this actually. Let's not do this in a hurry. I'm not going to draw the people because that's going to take a really long time. But I can at least draw this. It's just rectangles. Group this and copy it on my element here as well. Make this white. Give this group this first, then give it a drop shadow. Seems to be very, very subtle. Maybe 10 or 5 to 10%. This blue. I'm going to duplicate this one here for yellow. And then I'm going to take these and put it in this group that I just created. And I'm gonna group these again and give them a shadow as well. I'll just copy this shadow. That's Command Option C or right click, copy properties. On Option C, let's try that again. On Option B, there we go. This is our illustration here. And maybe I'll do this shadow thing at the bottom just to use the pen tool a little bit. I'm going to say pen. I'm going to click down and drag these curves out. Then I'm gonna hold alt, move this. I mean, there's the whole science using the pen tool. It's not easy at all. But in a different video, perhaps we can do some practice. There are games that you can actually play, like there's pen tool games that you can do where you have to recreate certain things. I mean, I'll see if I can find that and I'll link it in this video. Okay, we just hide our screenshot right now. And this is what it looks like. This is pretty decent. Just gonna, so all of our text, I don't think it's actually black. I think they've used this dark blue here. So I'm just gonna do that. It's gonna fuck it up a little bit because of the opacities, but we just go in and fix it. That's fine actually. It's good to go. I'm gonna give this a little bit of a stroke so that it is not that hard to see. Cool. This is looking pretty chill. And this thing here, I'm gonna give it a very light, this shadow type object. I'm gonna give it a fill. Let me put it behind this. Nice. So, I hope you learned something from this video. One of the things that you might find hard is that when you do a challenge like daily UI, you have something that you can share, and you can share this on Dribbble, you can share this on Instagram, you can get validation like I'm becoming a UI designer, I am getting likes. But that's not what you should optimize for in the beginning. Try to learn a lot. Things like this, you can't post them anywhere. You can't just be like, yo, I redesigned the Slack page. You get no validation for that. But remember the diagram of creativity, which is understand the elements, see how they work, learn how to use them, and then once you've done this, combine them in new interesting ways, and that's creativity. So for this initial part of your design journey, try recreating elements, understanding how they work, and try doing original stuff much later, once maybe you've watched some of my videos on theory, which are going to come up over the next couple of weeks. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Hopefully with this you learned a technique that you can apply just an hour every day, but hopefully more when you have free time to get better at designing. Now, one of the reasons why the start of this course, why I'm starting with tools rather than theory, this might seem absurd to people who've gone to design school because you start getting into the tools like way later. The reason for that is, as a self-taught designer, it really helps to have a playground where you can practice stuff in. So if I were to just start with theory, what is alignment, what is color theory, what is UX, what are the heuristics in that? You would understand the theory, but there would be no way for you to actually apply it. Which is why I'm starting with the basics. I want you to see that, start practicing, and then watch my videos on theory and bit by bit start applying it to the work you're doing. Join my WhatsApp group if you haven't already, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.